Back in 2013, I published my first ebook, and I was not prepared for what was coming. It wasn't sales, it wasn't fame, it was something totally unexpected. But it all started because of something I did by accident. You see, when I hit publish, I figured that was it. I would sell a couple of copies to friends and family, and my life would go back to normal. What I didn't realize was this one accidental move would put me on the path to quitting my 9 to 5 and building an entire brand and business around books and ebooks. You ever have someone break up with you and you think that there's still hope? You're hoping and thinking that they're going to change their mind. And every time you hear the phone ring, you get that twinge of excitement, hoping that it's them calling you. Eventually, that hope fades and you realize that they're not thinking about you. They're not going to call you, and it's actually over. I had written my ebook and I was sure it was going to sell. I would check my email several times a day, waiting for that email notification that I had made a sale. Every time I heard my phone ping, I would get excited thinking, wow, this is it. That's the payment notification. I had made a sale. But as the days and weeks went by, I realized and accepted no one was buying my ebook. Eventually, I got over the disappointment of no one buying my ebook, but there was something bigger eating at me. My ebook was never going to sell unless I was willing to do something to get it to sell. And that was the most difficult thing for me to accept because there was an expectation. Like most people, I had the expectation that if I just write it, it will sell. And I truly believed that. And I believed it because that's the story on social media and the internet. All the gurus and experts are talking about how much money you can make every day and the thousands you can make every week and how easy it is for you to do it. As my grandmother would say, the truth is always there, but sometimes you have to fight through the untruth to get to the truth. Here's the truth. If you want your ebook to sell, you have to have an audience or be willing to build an audience. Anyone that tells you differently or conveniently forgets to mention about building an audience or having an audience is lying to you, plain and simple. Now, this next thing that happened is something you're really going to struggle with, but you cannot give in to it, especially if you're over 40. I thought publishing my ebook would change my life, and it did, but not for the better. Not selling a single copy sent me into a cycle of frustration and disappointment. I had totally failed. So I did what most people do. I quit. It was clear I had no idea what I was doing. I went back to focusing on my job again. I went back to what I knew. I went back to what made me feel comfortable. But like so many times before, it wasn't long before the comfortable turned to uncomfortable. At work, I started to hear rumors about we had lost a lot of clients. We might be going to bankruptcy. We might all get fired or laid off, or the apartments were going to close. Just a lot of bad news. And immediately I felt that hopelessness again, that sense that someone had control of my life, that someone else could cut off my income at any time and for any reason. At that moment, I knew quitting was not an option. I went home that night determined that I was going to take that ebook that was not going to sell, that was not selling, and I was going to make it a success. I was done with letting someone else control my income. I was done with letting someone else control my life. Taking control of your income, taking control of your life isn't easy, but you can do it. If you're ready to write a 6-figure ebook with stuff you already know like the back of your hand and take control of your income and take control of your life, click on the link in the description below. Okay, quick rewind. I was frustrated and ready to take control of my life, but being frustrated wasn't moving the needle. One more thing had to happen, and it was the most important thing. Whatever you have in your life and wherever you are in your life is based on 2 actions. One problem is most people do one action more than they do the other. But the bigger problem is most people don't know the difference between the two. I wasn't aware there is a huge difference between a choice and a decision. And I was definitely doing more choosing than deciding. And that was one of the reasons why my life was stuck and I was frustrated and disappointed. Decide comes from the Latin word decidere, which means to cut off. Deciding is an act of commitment. You're cutting off all options and all alternatives. Choosing is an act of selection. You're giving yourself options and alternatives. Think of it as deciding is the parent and choosing is the child. This is why making a choice causes so much stress. You simply have too many options. But when you decide, there are no options. You're either going to do something or you're not going to do it. For example, you want to lose 10 pounds. Now you're committed. The only thing left for you to do is to choose how you want to go about losing the weight. Do you want to go on a diet? Do you want to exercise? Or maybe you want to do both. Now, suppose you just made the choice to lose weight, but not the decision. So you're facing the choice of, where do you work out? Do you work out at home? Do you work out at the gym? How often do you exercise or work out? What kind of workouts would you do? What kind of diet would you go on? Would it be a paleo diet, a keto diet? Would it be something where you're eating only vegetables? Would it be only meat? Would it be non-dairy? Would it be gluten-free? All kind of options and alternatives. And what eventually happens is you get frustrated because of all the options and all the alternatives and all the choices that are involved, and you just quit. And you quit because there was no decision. There was no commitment. There were just a lot of choices and alternatives that you had to fight your way through. Once I decided to take control of my income and to take control of my life, it didn't matter if I chose to write books and ebooks. It didn't matter if I chose to invest in real estate or invest in the stock market. The fact that I had made a decision meant that I was committed, and that meant that I was going to ultimately be successful because I had made a decision, not a choice. I figured out how to turn that ebook into a success because I didn't have any alternatives. I didn't have any options. I had made a decision that I was going to be successful. And since 2013, that one ebook still produces a monthly income. And because of that one ebook, I've written 5 more books. And each one of those books generate a monthly income for me. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And what do you want to have? It's time to stop choosing. Decide. I can't decide for you, but I can help you with your choices. If you're ready to take control of your income, to take control of your life, click on the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.